best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. Oh, it's an interesting day. I wanted to do a quick video. Two things were on my mind. Deandre Baker and the NFL season. Now, we did a video back on June 21st that was basically titled The Coronavirus Update and Rumors from Tampa. And what it was about was, and if you want to take a look at it, we're gonna put it up here on the screen. We'll have a link to the screen as well. It was basically saying that we had spoken with two NFL sources in the Tampa area who work for the Buccaneers, and they said that the biggest issue for the season, and potentially the issue for the season, is not going to be the coronavirus. It's going to be the league and the players union coming up with a quasi-CBA that will allow the players to feel safe enough to get onto the field. And they said to me that was probably going to be, and like I said, you can go back to watch the video. It was on June, like I said, I think it was, let me pull it up right here. It was on, like I said, it was June 21st. And basically, they just said, listen, that could be, and they call it a quasi-CBA because there's going to be the new CBA, but this is basically just having parameters in place to ensure the safety of the players. Now, Nate Solder came out yesterday or a couple days ago and said that, because he is a player representative, that one of the issues that they are having, as you know, with the league is them coming up with some type of game plan to ensure the player's safety, and there could potentially not be a season until that game plan is put together. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, when I saw the Nate Solder story, I contacted the two people I spoke to back on June 20th to do our June 21st video, and I spoke to them briefly today, and they feel that there will be a resolution in a pretty expedited manner, and not to worry in reference to the start of training camp. That the league is under the understanding that with the players, that safety does need to be involved in this entire situation to make not only the own, because you know what, the owners don't want to be put in a situation where, you know, they're getting multiple players sick, and of course the players don't want to be in that situation either. So they were telling me not to worry about this situation, that it will rectify itself, and like I said, it's a negotiation. Now, the only thing that really pissed me off was having Nate come out and say, if the NFL doesn't do their part to keep players healthy, there will be no football in 2020. It's that simple. Now, training camps are scheduled to begin on July 28th, and the league and the players' unions are scheduled to speak on Monday. So, I mean, they still need to come up with terms of the matter, such as testing, financial compensation, and the ability of the players to opt out of the season, which is everything that, you know, the NBA did, NHL did, the soccer league did, you know, and the same thing with the MLB. So for him to come out and say that, it to me was just in the realm of stupidity. Yes, Nate, we understand as fans that the players need to be protected. We understand as fans that the players' health are the most important things. But then when you talk about things that come in reference to financial compensation, to me, that's saying that the players are looking to get more out of this than anything else. And again, I do not begrudge any NFL player for trying to get as much money as humanly possible. Their careers are short enough. You're looking at 3.3 years average player length, 4.4 for a quarterback years in the league. So I understand that. But for him to come out and make that statement, I haven't been a fan of Nate in a while, but this right now is making me even less of a fan of Nate. Because he's basically saying an ultimatum to the owners, you don't do this, we're not doing this, and the only people who are going to suffer in the end are going to be the fans. So, and like I said, I talked to my contacts in Tampa. The first thing that they said was, this situation will be worked through, it will be rectified, they think that training camp will start on time, that the only thing that would potentially stop training camp from starting on time would be, a larger increase in testing that produced more positive tests for the virus for NFL players. So I think Nate should just stay off Twitter, shut up, and try to make sure someone doesn't blow past him and sack the quarterback. That should be his focus. Because, right, you know what? Because, like I said, Nate, you seem like you're dropping the ball on this one as much as you're not protecting Daniel Jones. So let's just keep it quiet, not worry about the organization, and let the NFL do their thing with you guys as the Players Association. And you know what? Let's do it. Because at the end of the day, if this is blocked because of, a financial aspect from the player side, you guys are gonna get ripped. So let's keep it about safety. Let's keep it about playing the season, and let's be a little bit more diplomatic when we go on Twitter, Nate. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. Update on Deandre Baker and Quentin Dunbar. Now, the lawyers, of course, are coming out and saying, no, none of this happened. They all deny it and everything else. And our buddy Deandre's lawyer came out and said, well, you know what? We were setting them up since day one, and we've been working with the FBI on this and all the local authorities. Okay, here's the problem with the story that I have. I have a friend that is a former AUSA. And if you don't know what an AUSA is, it's an assistant United States attorney, or basically a federal prosecutor. And I made a call to him yesterday and said, hey, listen, what's going on with this? I don't pretend to know the law. I don't understand the law, but you could give me a basic idea. His thing was, if Deandre Baker, attorney, and Quentin Dunbar's attorney were working with the FBI and federal investigators, the federal investigators would have alerted and worked in conjunction with the local authorities. The local authorities would not have requested a warrant to obtain a warrant to gain information for evidence citing video footage, direct mail messages, and everything else. They would not have done this. They would not have done this at all. And then some of the text messages or direct messages that you look at, the guy someone even asked him, why were they robbed? Why did they do this robbery? And the guy even states, well, they lost a lot of money to them. Okay, so that's fine. That's not fine, but it's just interesting that his attorney, Baker's attorney, comes out and says, well, we're not, we didn't do anything at all. We're working with the FBI and authorities. Okay, you know what? I've heard 4 different stories now from what's going on with you guys. And I understand, yes, you of course are going to deny everything. I understand that. And I have no problem with that, because that is a good attorney's job, is to try to get their clients off, create reasonable doubt, and everything else. But like I said, if you were working in conjunction with the FBI, my friend who was a former federal prosecutor said that there would be communications between the local authorities and the FBI, because witness tampering, bribery, and everything else is a federal crime. Especially if it's witnessed, like I said, there's a whole, he went into a whole conspiracy aspect of it, and I didn't really, I didn't really 100% understand what he was talking about in the conspiracy, but it's evidently it would be a federal crime. So the local office of would not obtain a search warrant for information if they were working directly with the federal investigation. And that's the thing. And of course, like I said, of course they're gonna say this, but then they show in the direct messages that Baker was talking to the guy the day of the robbery, the day all this happened. He was talking to this coach guy. So my question is, at that point in time, how did you all of a sudden start talking to these people about paying people off if you were already working with the feds and the FBI? Now, the FBI hasn't said anything. I'm not saying that they're lying. I'm not saying that this did not happen, that they aren't being, extorted. I'm not saying that. But we've heard so many different stories from Baker's attorney, and now this one, and now he's saying, well, they took a polygraph test, and they said that they didn't do anything for the robbery. They didn't participate or witness in the robbery. Well, first of all, my friend, the former ASUSA, told me something very interesting. He said that, of course, which I didn't know, polygraph tests are not admissible in court. They're not allowed in court because they can be subjective. It's in a way that you ask the questions. It's in the way that the order of the questions are in, and it's also in the way that if someone believes a story enough, they will pass the lie detector test. And I love it that the attorneys are coming out saying, well, this is all smear tactics and shameful reporting. Why is it smear tactics when the New York Daily News went out and Freedom of Information Act went out and got the information? And so they even said law enforcement, both local and federal, was advised from day one and beyond that the alleged victims in this case were actively extorting Baker and Dunbar. Here's the problem I have with this. If that's the case, they never would have filed a warrant. The judge never would have signed off a warrant for their arrest. There's a lot more to this story, as always, and I'm not going to get into it because, like I said, I don't know the truth. Nobody knows the truth. But like I said, when you make up three separate stories, when you turn around and then say you got this, you got this, you got this, and you don't have it truthful, and then we find out that potentially Baker, that according to the direct message, Baker, the day of the robbery, talked to this coach guy about already paying people off. And like I said, my buddy said, that's the former AUSA, that all local and federal law enforcement would be working together. They would not press charges against, a judge would not have signed off on charges against Quentin Dunbar and Baker unless they had evidence. And they would have dropped this case already if there was evidence in regards to them being extorted, because it is a federal crime. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Again, this is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best of New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. And as always, you can follow us on Twitter at OnlineBigBlue1, or you can just drop us an email at onlinebigbblue@gmail.com. gmail.com. And again, this is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best of New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. And as always, if you could like, if you could subscribe, if you could ring that bell, I think you know what that means. That'd be awesome.